A very pleasant evening to all of you. I, CA Kalpana Thakur, welcome you all on our 35th episode of Friday Fleet, an initiative of women empowerment. Change is only constant, and from this episode, we have changed timing of our session from by receiving requests from most of the participants that they are not able to attend the session um, on its earlier time, 4 to 5. Today onwards, we are having 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. every Friday. Let's begin today on our very important topic, social impact assessment, and we are having our speaker, CA Sunita Rathore. Here, I would like to appreciate and mention the fact that since we had our session on similar topic on our 30th episode, ESG Beginning of a Sustainable Era by CA Anushri Garg. And Sunita has taken well effort to not touch upon those areas, those are already covered in the previous section. So kudos and we appreciate your effort, Sunita, for considering the importance of time of our community. I will not take much time because it's the prime time for us. For I will not call us um, the multitasker, but I consider that after being a busy day, being done with the professional responsibility, this is the time zone when the
It's
family
Nita.
responsibilities comes on our shoulder, and when you are here to listen to our speaker, it's only them to whom we should listen. So with that, I would like to hand over the stage to Jyoti Maru, CA Jyoti Maru, for introducing our speaker for the day, CA Sunita Rathore. So, Jyoti, over to you. Thank you so much.
Very warm welcome to CA Sunita Rathore.
Thank you.
Sunita Rathore is a practicing chartered accountant with industry experience, an ESG and sustainability consultant with certification from ICAI on BRSR and sustainability report and GR1 level certification from KPMG. Sunita is passionate about helping business achieve their sustainability goals and endeavor to make a positive impact. Sunita is also a certified NLP master practitioner, corporate and soft skill trainer with a keen interest in helping people achieve their full potential. Thank you, Sunita, for taking up this very impactful session. I hand over the platform to you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you, Jyoti, for the wonderful introduction. And I thank Kalpana, Friday Fleet, Dr. Adhukia, as well as Poonam to actually initiate this and help us in our journey of growing together. And all kudos to you, Kalpana, to consistently make us, stand and share our bit within the community and work towards bettering ourselves. So, without much ado, I'll start with the topic for the day. So, we all know that sustainability and ESG is the need of the hour these days for businesses. Other than having your financial reporting uh, criteria that you need to fulfill, businesses need to be responsible towards the environment, towards the ecology, as well as towards their governance. So one aspect of ESG and sustainability also works in the social enterprise sector. And today I'm going to discuss with you the social impact assessment, as well as the opportunities that are there for CAs, as well as the other people as impact assessors. So before actually touching on social impact assessment, I'll just share with you what sustainability and ESG, the basic principles that we know of, just to re-imbibe them, that we know that sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising on the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. So that is why it is becoming a hot topic these days. Now, what are the advantages that we would have if the organizations, if economies works towards ESG goals? It would give us help the communities. It is going to drive the innovations. It is going to make us, have more sustainable ways of using our resources. And that is why it is critical for the businesses to actually work towards maintaining a system, a scenario, and processes in place so that we work toward within the environment, social and governance parameters, and make the best possible use of our resources. Now, for that, if we've globally, sustainability goals have been set in across poverty, how to handle poverty across peace. There are 5 pillars along which the global business environment works. And India has also put in our sustainable goals principles through our BRSR reporting. And new measures are being brought in for sustaining holistic development. So the goals are, you're all aware of the 17 goals that SDGs that have been agreed to during the UN Paris meet. And everyone has taken their responsibilities, their commitments towards them. So the pillars, the 5 pillars around which the sustainable development goals are set are people, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet. That the enterprises, communities as a whole are going to commercially work towards getting better resources and utilizing the resources in the manner to benefit the people, for the prosperity of the people as well as the economies, for maintaining peace, for collaboration, and in the betterment, for the betterment of our planet and societies. So the goals, I'll just read them out for you, and then I'm going to come to the topic that is related to our, environment, social, as well as our governance norms. So the global SDG 17 SDGs are towards that we are going to ensure that corporates, when they are working, when they are going about their business, they're going to ensure that we meet our social commitments of providing for the society, that there's no poverty, there's no hunger, good life balance is maintained, health facilities are provided, education facilities are provided, and we are not actually endangering the biodiversity, whether it is on land or in water, and all these aspects have been covered, right? So how does social impact assessment come in the picture? So here I would like to understand from you all, have you heard of this term, social impact assessment? Has anyone, have you ever come across this term, social impact assessment? You all must have heard about, and we are aware, we've attended these previous sessions about sustainability and the ESG, endeavors that have been put in by globally by governments across the globe, as well as India specific. I see something in the chat. No, okay. So So how I'm going to share is, I'm going to share something about what social impact assessments generally is, then how has India worked around to, brought this opportunity for us, and how India is incorporating social impact assessments. So social impact assessment evaluates the social consequences, whether it is positive or negative, on the actions that companies are taking or development projects are impacting in the policies that they are being worked about, or any industrial activities that are being conducted. And it's an integral part of your ESG, that is environment, social, and governance frameworks. So for that process, for social impact assessment, stakeholders are engaged. So when we talk about stakeholders, it means that anyone who's impacted by those decisions, be it your employees, be it the people who in the area where these particular projects are undergoing, or any other, the environment as such, the people around, any diversity, so biodiversity has been impacted. All those uh, impacts, positive or negative, are accounted for. And while that project is in the initial stages or is under development, a feedback is, stakeholders are engaged. Conversation is done, reviews are made, and then on the base of it, a decision or analysis is made as to how this particular project is working for or against the community, and what measures can be taken to mitigate the risks or mitigate the negative impact. So this is a layman's understanding of how social impact assessment is made. Right now, when we discuss, I'll share with you the process that is done, what impacts are, what considerations are considered, and the India scenario. So while the social assessors, impact assessors, are doing this process, they collect data, they analyze the data, and they have some parameters around which they analyze the data. So what is the purpose and importance of it? It ensures that the projects align with the community values as well as the needs of the community. And there is a holistic development within the community and for the community. So it minimizes. So any decision will be having a positive and a negative impact, right? So if you're aware of the negative impact, you'll be in a better position to make some changes to mitigate the risks as well as mitigate the negative impacts of it. If I were to say that supposedly you're building up, planning a road, right? So through a village, and you're cutting down forests. So you know that you will be impacting the trees in the area. So what mitigation steps can you take? You can either actually relocate those trees, or find an area wherein you can do plant saplings and all, so that whatever negative impact from that particular process is there, it is mitigated to a certain extent, because we all know development is required, right? So you might do an analysis on what would work in that situation and what would not work. So that is all covered in your social impact. Now, the key principles that govern social impact assessment are that it is a participatory approach, wherein the perspectives of everyone is concerned is taken. There is a transparency, so that you have third party coming in and doing those assessments, and the data and information and the analysis is shared, and there is accountability. Now, what do we mean by accountability? That the decision makers are held responsible for the potential negative impacts and for whatever mitigating steps that they've taken to limit the negative impacts. So there would be some adverse impacts, but how much of a exercise you've done to actually stop those, to meet those negative, to make those negatives into a positive. You will not be able to convert everything, but how much have you taken to mitigate those risks and the negative impacts, and the amount of positive information impact that is coming, the positive development that you're bringing into the society, into the area, that all is taken. So in order to ensure that there is a balance, there is a regulatory framework, and within which the reporting needs to be done, within which the data collection needs to be done, the processes that need to be followed, and specific stringent regulations with the areas like your mining industry. So there'll be a specific set of regulations and rules that the auditors, as well as the social impact assessors, nowadays they're being called social impact assessors, are going to take and follow and ensure that the organization for which, or the projects for which they're doing this assessment, are catering to those plans. So the whole process is based on is that you are going to define the problem and the goals from that particular assessment. The scope of the area is actually spelled out upfront. Then the stakeholders are identified, that who all other stakeholders, meaning who will be impacted by this particular project or this particular policy or this particular implementation that has been brought forward. And it includes the communities, it includes the employees, it includes the organizations involved, the NGOs who are working with those enterprises, and the data is collected. Now, data is collected through surveys. It is collected through interviews, and it is collected through various other means and measures that have been laid out. And once the collection is done, the impact is assessed. So this might be sounding, but wherein you are dealing with the environment, there are environmental experts who are taken into consideration. Then if you're dealing with say water, so there are specific experts also who are brought on board, and their intake is taken while these assessments are being made. Then the mitigation and enhancement measures are spelled out, that these are the risks, if these are the positive and the negative impacts, and direct or indirect impacts of that particular project, and how can the negatives be mitigated or curtailed to that. And the monitoring and the evaluation. So this is the steps that are taken. Now, when these stakeholders are identified and engaged, then the system process is defined as to what would be the extent of questions that will be there, whether a questionnaire will be sent, whether a survey will be done, whether interviews will be taken, what levels of interviews, what stage of interviews. Everything is decided and spelled out, in a systematic manner for the assessments to be made. The data collection is then, because what can be measured can be improved. So for that purposes, the data is actually collected. There are the methodologies as all. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it as to what, because that would look into the time constraints, but there are specific sets and quality controls that are being that are defined, that have to be followed for this purpose. And an impact identification process and prediction methods are done. So when you're talking about impact, the social impact assessors are going to define the direct impacts, the indirect impacts, and the cumulative impacts. Now, just to get an idea as to what could be a direct, indirect, and cumulative impact, uh, we'll just discuss one case, and I'll want your uh, interaction in this. So, there was a case wherein a mining company was planning to develop a large-scale iron ore mine in one of the state locations in Odisha. And that project was set in a region with high biodiversity and a tribal population. Now, if you think of it, what could be the direct impact? What could be the indirect impact of and maybe cumulative impact of this particular project? So we are talking about a company that is about to set up an iron ore mining project in an area where you have a biodiversity wildlife, so you which will impact the biodiversity of the region and as well as a tribal establishment, community establishment.
Hello,
Yeah,
this is Soumya.
yeah, Soumya.
Just to point out, as per my understanding, the direct impact will be the tribals. Like if they are the Lakshadweep kind of tribals who are not even vaccinated and all that, no human touch, then the impact will be very difficult to relocate them and habitate them. Otherwise, if they are a bit more educated, or I mean, bit more culturally inclusive tribals to humankind, then they need to be relocated to different places and given some other occupation. And biodiversity will be a very huge impact in these days. I mean, which cannot be just like that relocated, because flora, fauna, animals, and many more things are at stake there. This will be the
Yes.
direct impact as I can foresee.
Yes, bang on. That is correct. So the livelihoods that would be there, the displacement that could be there, and this is how a decision would be taken by the organization, whether it is feasible to actually go ahead with the project. Right. So the pros and cons, and how the local community is going to view and respond to the project, and the water resource impact as well. So that would also be because mining activities are going to contaminate the natural water resources. Could anyone, thank you, Soumya, for actually giving it spot on assessment. And what could be some indirect impacts? If anyone else could pitch in, or Soumya, if you could do that again.
If Soumya again, and if
Yeah.
the indirect impact, what I can foresee is like the water contamination happens. If it is in an upstream area, then not even the local area, there will be a downstream impact to wherever the water goes. So many more villages and wherever the water goes downstream. And also the pollutants in the water, if that water is used for crop irrigation and agriculture purposes, wherever it is
Yes.
going, that could be one.
Yeah. And then if anyone else wants to pitch in, thank you, Soumya. Thank you so much for engaging and sharing your thoughts. So there would be impact on the economy as well, right? So you'll have people from outside coming in and disrupting the local environment, right? That could be one of the impact. That could be impact on the infrastructure for the so many people will be coming, so it will eat on to the health, education, as well as your public utilities would be expected to be there. So more construction requirements, the cultural aspects of the tribal areas losing their their rituals and all. And if we talk about the cumulative impacts, the biodiversity loss would be there, and the kind of pollution that would be coming, the noise pollution, the air pollution, the contamination of the soil, the socio-economic disparities, wherein you will have a demarcation between your skilled and the unskilled laborers and stuff like that. So all these are taken into account when these kinds of impact analysis are made, right? So social impact assessments are made. And
Just
yeah.
a point, I mean, a query or a opinion. As you talked about impact assessment, so a company would or any organization would be making an impact assessment on whether it has a positive or negative, both, right? So there could be,
Yes.
if the organization who is into planning for or they are a more ethical organization, they will be doing it in a planned way, that is infrastructure, roads, local schools and everything, which could bring positive thing to the place, like many townships like JSW etc near Hampi, which has created a 20-kilometer radius, means it has created an infrastructure, a small township in itself, which is a blessing for that area. I mean, something like that, or it could go really haywire the other way also.
Yes, and Tatas have a plant in Kalinganagar in Odisha, wherein they initially they had a lot of disruption, a lot of local community, um, mm, negative uh, mm, uh, agitations were there, and they really worked with the community to educate them, to provide them the enhanced services and set up, and got their buy-in and worked towards it. So there are many other organizations who are doing that, who are conscious of their the impact that they're going to make on the economy, as well as working with the people around, so that there is a holistic development for the enterprise itself, as well as for the community that where they are going, and the environment, and all the socioeconomic elements are being looked into. So this when these assessments are made, they are made on behalf of the company, but through a third party company, right? So so that there is a transparency and a true and fair assessment is done. And that therein comes the need for your social impact assessors. So as I talked about the fact that the mitigation and the enhancement measures that will be taken. Now, this is a scenario that happens globally. Wherever you have your social impact assessors, they are going to do this. They are going to keep the uh, the yeah, Nidhi, you've raised your hand. Yes.
But how do you really value, like derive upon a value of this impact? Because the impacts can be multiplying in nature, and that direct impacts, okay, in, I think valuing direct impacts itself would be a critical thing to do. Then taking into consideration the indirect impacts can be mm, multiplied in different levels, different scenarios. You can even, how do you determine it?
So there is a lot of technicality involved in this, and there are some certain set parameters. So everything, so subjectivity is there in everything in life, right? So because the
Yeah, so
socio,
it's something like a
yeah,
butterfly effect.
yeah. So you have to actually weigh in. So when these experts are weighing in, they balance the advancement, the development that is there, whether it is required or not, right? And whether it makes sense to, so all those parameters are taken into consideration when such decisions are made. And see, like we see, for example, now flying has become so uh, uh, it's a way of living, right, for us. Do we consider the fact that when we are flying, the maximum pollution and the ozone layer damage is done by the fuel that is being used by these planes? But because flying is something that is required, need of the hour, it makes the globe a much smaller place, right? So you can reach places in lesser time. So we've not stopped flying. We do fly. So that kind of an analysis has to be made, and is made while these factors are considered. So what do you think would happen if we stop using airplanes? Because the fuels that are there, if you actually go and study, you'll see that the maximum amount of pollution is made because of the but we cannot stop that, right?
We can
Mining,
just shift to an alternate
yes.
fuel.
So we can, and this is why the consciousness about sustainability and ESG is on the rise. That there are certain things that you cannot do without for development's sake, right? But then you find out alternatives wherein you try to minimize the damage, and you take that call as to what where the scale is weighing, right? So you
So
try to
actually,
balance
my
it well.
question was around that as a chartered accountant, how do you really go and measure or check if the measurements which are taken into consideration are correct or not?
You take the help of experts. So chartered accountants are not supposed to do these economic evaluations. You have your water experts, you have your environment experts. So wherever these reports are required, these technical reports on the environment are required, you will have to go and collaborate with the experts, right? And
Okay.
now I'm coming to the system of India per se. So this is what social impact assessment deals with. Now, social impact assessment, social enterprises, and social stock exchange, the Indian scenario. Now, for India, social impact assessment is a very, very new system. And why it has come, it is, so we have social enterprises, and somewhere around in 22 that I'm going to discuss, that social exchanges, stock exchanges, the concept of social stock exchanges was brought in. Now, origin of social stock exchanges was introduced way back in 2003, wherein the first social stock exchange was launched in Brazil. Then, over the years, other countries did. At the present moment, social stock exchange is only working in Canada, Singapore, and Jamaica. But in 2019, 2020, India brought in the concept of social stock exchange. And why it did? It wanted the social enterprises, the enterprises that are working for social upliftment, and specifically in those areas, so that they could have the finances. Now, and they could raise capital, and not be limited to these startup funding or specific investors who are working towards it. So from that objective, they started a social stock exchange. Now, once you've started a social stock exchange, the financing was given to that. So any enterprise, social enterprise, which is working for in those areas, there are 16 or 17 areas for the upliftment of the society. So they will be able to come to the stock exchange and get money. Now, just giving you a brief idea as to what it is, and then I'm going to come that how social impact assessments are specifically related with the Indian scenario. So now public companies in the traditional stock exchanges, they will sell their ownership, and they will get your shareholders' wealth, and you will have a part on the own the part of the company in your traditional stock exchanges. In your social stock exchange, that is not the available. So they will extend capital markets to the social welfare organizations that are working in, and the object is to fundraise, and you are supporting in a social impact, right? So whenever you are funding a social enterprise, you are supporting that particular area of development in which that particular enterprise is working. Now, because they have a regulatory framework, stock exchange SEBI wants the work that they're doing to be assessed by a social impact assessor. That whatever reason for which the funds are being raised by these social enterprises, they are actually utilizing the funds for the said project or for the said upliftment of that particular category. So social enterprises in India have some 17 odd thematic areas wherein they can work, and because of the line of work, they will be able to raise capital, raise money through. There are some instruments that they can use. I'm not going to get into that, but those instruments they can use to everything. Yeah. So I'll just share the list of the uh, areas where the social enterprises can work. It is sports, is eradication of hunger, it is promoting health, it is employability, it is gender equality, and climate change, and then national heritage, rural sports, and social enterprise incubators that are working, actually providing some solutions for the enterprise itself, and urban poor. So there are a lot, 16, 17 odd areas where the social enterprises work. And there are rules and regulations also regarding that you have to 67% of your activities should be in those eligible areas that you have said. That supposedly you say that you're going to work for the health, so rural health, or health for the weaker sections of the society, then 67% of your work should be related to that particular area, upliftment of those marginalized people, or those rural areas and all. And now the social impact assessors and all, they are going to see whether review and give a report as to whether you are actually doing the work in the areas that you've said that you're doing, and the funds have been utilized in the manner that they're supposed to do. And
A query, ma'am.
Yeah.
Soumya, I have a query. As
Yeah.
you said that SSCs, the money can be raised like in stock exchanges. So primarily these will be non-profit. So these will be driven
Yeah.
for a cause. So
Yeah.
basically the companies who are giving the money, will it come under CSD, corporate social CSR, or donation categories like that? Or how does this framework work?
No, CSR is entirely different. This is actually registering yourself with the social stock exchange. So you can have so there are parameters wherein you can be a not-for-profit organization. So if you are a not-for-profit organization, you will have other avenues wherein you can raise funds. You have your SME area, you have your other one platform wherein your NSE, BSEs, factors. But for a not-for-profit organization, you can raise funds through the social stock exchange, and you will work in those areas.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, Sunita. I would
Yeah.
like to confirm that are you okay to take question in between the session, or can we keep them parked and it will be discussed at the end considering the timeline?
Yeah, I was just saying, no, yeah,
Yeah, so
if
I
we
would
can,
request, yes.
yeah.
We would request participant to questions are sign that we are going in the right direction and all of you are well with us in the discussion with Sunita. So keep your curiosity alive and we'll discuss it at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, but there are CSR is a different aspect of it. See, though CSR does, and you social impact assessment is made for CSR projects, but raising money, because CSR is for companies who are actually doing it. It's part of it's a legal requirement for them to do, and corporates are those are not for profit, right? So the stakeholders in your social stock exchange would be your primary participants, the market infrastructure institutions and beneficiaries, and the regulators. Now, this is just that I wanted to share the information to you. Now, as I'd mentioned, your not-for-profit social enterprises who are working in those areas, but they are not for profit. So they're not working as they are working for profit, sorry. So for-profit social enterprises have other recourse to actually take financing. So they can actually go through their NSE, BSE or SME platforms, or they can get from your investors, private investors and all. But for not-for-profit organizations, they can actually get funding through offering zero coupon bonds, the instruments that are there. So zero coupon, zero principal bonds is that you will not get anything in return. It's just that you are funding that particular project, and it is that you are funding something that is aligned with your values and with your with the individual's value system and area of interest, right? Now, for ensuring that the funds which are raised through these processes, these social stock exchanges, they are used in the manner the need for social audit arose. Now, earlier, these were called social auditors, who used to audit the use of the funds, the way that they are being used, and the stakeholder engagements and all were done. But in last year or year before, last year in 2022, the government has actually, SEBI has actually renamed them as social impact assessors. Now, whenever a social impact assessor is assessing the feasibility of a project or the utilization of funds by these social enterprises, they have to follow the guidelines laid down in the social audit standards. So there are 16 audit standards. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritties of it, but they are all dealing with the 16 areas in which the enterprises are working towards. So, for example, if an enterprise is working on rural or on heritage, so there will be actually there will be a standard for that, and whenever an assessment is made, all the parameters specified in that particular standard have to be taken care of and worked on while drafting a report by the social auditor. So the key elements that a social impact assessor needs to do is it has to work the planning and conducting and reporting, report the findings in the manner, measuring the impact that needs to be measured in the manner that has been stated, covering all the aspects that have been laid down in these particular standards. So ethical considerations have to be taken into account. The information that has been shared is confidential, and they have to maintain, they have to state the conflict of interest that has all been actually stated there. So the benefits of using these social audit standards is that they give credibility to the work that has been done in the assessment process. You have a consistent framework wherein you can actually do an analysis and correlation of what is between two different enterprises working in the same area, in the same field. And obviously the quality is also done. So the scope of these social accounting standards are that these enterprises are audited for their not for their financial results, right? The financial results are not. The financial results audit is done or information is catered on a different. These are all the non-financial parameters that are taken into consideration, and they may cover the CSR impact also of the particular organization. So those assessments are also done by. So a social impact assessor can be asked by a company to actually give an assessment on the CSR projects that are being taken. And the compliance of social accounting standards are mandatory for the listed enterprises, that is listed in the social stock exchanges. Any social impact assessor who is doing that has to follow that and has to report any departures and cover all the aspects that are being set after that particular date, that is 22. The responsibilities of an impact assessor lie about when they are doing the data collection, baseline data collection, the stakeholder engagements have to be done and kept a record of the process that has been followed, the number of interviews that have been done, or whatever means of collating the information or collecting the information has taken forward. The analysis that has been made based on those interactions, and what are their report and what are the mitigating factors that have been considered and how they have been worked around. The data collection method, as I said, that observation, interviews, focus groups, they'll do online surveys, and then the review process will be taken care of. Okay, I'm running short of time, so I'm just going to. So while they are going to evaluate on the matrices, and all this information, the evaluation process, the questions, the different issues that are pertaining to that particular project are laid down. The evaluation criteria is laid down, and then the matrices are created. So the specific matrices, when we are talking about, say, pollution, then there will be specific matrices around which they will have to gather the information, and that will be collected in that particular manner. So because these are technical things, I'm not sharing with them right now, but we could have another session to actually discuss those aspects as well. So when they are actually evaluating, they will give the quantitative criteria, qualitative criteria that they have done, and the basis on which the assessment and the result of their assessment is there, right? Then they are going to give the impact, any feedback that they've got, how they've measured, and the improvements that they plan to put across or suggest for the particular area that they are working on. So the limitations in all this process is that it is subjective. Then they could have because of the subjective analysis, the outcomes or their assessment would depend on their individual views and the information, if that is there. So it has to be highlighted in the report and communicated that based on their particular assessment, these results have been or assessment has been made, right? So that has to be stated. The subjectivity involved has to be clearly mentioned, and where they've not followed the processes, they have to actually share. So the elements are that are involved are that the parties involved will be the social auditor or the social impact assessor. Then you will have the party for whom the assessment is being made, and the intended users of the report. So intended users would be your investors, would be the regulators, and anyone else that who will be reading the reports. And the components that are part of the process is that the project that has been valued, so that it has to be specified as to this particular assessment is being made for this particular, the scope of the assessment has to be specified, the monitoring, the framework that has been used, the process of evidence gathering that has been done, and how the report has been formed. So all these elements have to be spelled out and worked. Now, to be an impact assessor, so there are the qualifications. Where we come to the fact that who all can actually do this process of social impact assessment. So actually, the skills are so supposingly you are environmentalist, so you will have to have a bachelor's degree or master's degree for doing the technical bit of the analysis of the environmental impact. The skills would be you need to have the qualification to do research and the technical background, knowledge of the framework, and there are certifications that are there for social impact assessment and ESG related. So the certifications would be something that if we talk about the international association, international aspect of it, so the International Association of Impact Assessors are actually, they give trainings, and those trainings are given for your social impact assessment and about social return on investment. So how would you monitor that, or how would you conduct those assessments? So there are certification programs of the length of the duration, and for them, one can enroll and get certified and carry on. So in the Indian scenario, we have NISM, which gives these certificates, and there is a it is associated with SEBI, and there is a certification program that you can do. So that is a social auditor, and you can do that from NISM. Then there is the Center for Science and Environment, that also gives a social impact assessment training program. Then you have your Social Audit Network, SAN India. So they also give a social impact practitioners course, and they give training in wherein they give you case studies to do, and they take you on social impact, return on investment. They take you in field and get you live training, case training. So that also is available in the Indian scenario. In the global scenario, you have your International Association for Impact Assessors. They provide, and there is the Sustainability Academy that provides a course, and there's a association, JPAL, So that is Abdul Latif Jameel Poverty Action Lab. So they also give the certifications, and that can be done. And you can get the certifications for being a social impact assessor. The organizations that are actually registered and they're doing work over here in the Indian scenario are the fourth wheel social impact area, the Consultivo, CSR Box, and Devon. So these are all the organizations who have been doing work and providing social impact services. So these are providing your ESG as well as your social impact services. So now, as a chartered accountant, you can actually go and get a certification from NISM, and anyone else can do. So this particular field of social impact assessment is not limited to just chartered accountants. It is open to all, and anyone can do that. And for any technical issues, you will have to collaborate with the environmental, with the technical experts who are actually giving that particular service, and do the impact analysis along with them. So how a chartered accountant would come, you have to set in a process of gathering information from these particular organizations. So that's a process setting, the data gathering, the system of having working with them to ensure that they have the processes set in to give you the information that can also be worked around. So I think I answered your question, Soumya, that the qualifications and eligibility, anyone can, the preference is given to if you have, supposedly you want to get into the technical aspect of it. So you will need to get the technical knowledge. Certification courses are available. NISM does provides that particular certification course wherein you can go, do it. That course is valid for a specific, I think, 3 years. So after 3 years, you will have to renew, and you will need to keep upskilling yourself and get these certifications and live, practical, experience on the job kind of a.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. I think I have shared whatever I wanted to share, and this is an opportunity that you can think of going. It is very interesting if you want to get into analyzing or understanding the non-financial impacts, and how if you want to give back to the society, as well as understand ways and means we can better the work with the for the upliftment in the areas that are you hold dear to your. Any questions?
We request other participants, if they are having any question, to share in the chat box, or they can unmute themselves and ask. All right, so it's 7 p.m. And as we have started on time, I think we are going to conclude our session on time. So, Sunita, would you like to call one more time for any question? Or I think enough questions are received throughout the sessions.
Thank you so much for engaging with me. And if you have any questions, do share, or you can get in touch with me. It would be a learning experience for me also, because I will, get to dig out the information and share with you. So it would help me in broadening my knowledge also. So it happens that you might I might not have thought on those lines, and you will come and ask a question that will make me think that, okay, yes, this is something that I should also be knowing about. So I am also a new entrant to this field. So there's no limits to the kind of information that you can dig in, and the kind of knowledge that you need to gather. Yeah, sure, Soumya. Shall I share my number here?
Yes, sure.
So I can. This is my number, and we can connect on LinkedIn as well. I'm there on LinkedIn, and thank you. Thank you all for being a very engaging and interactive audience. And
thanks to our speaker for being so patience and calm in during delivering the session and while taking the questions. So this is what I admire about you, Sunita, and I think this I have mentioned you personally as well. A few months back, the day we have connected, that the way you speak with calmness and composure is what really appreciable and something to learn from you.
thank you so much.
And
It
thank
was a
you
pleasure.
for taking the session so nicely and touching upon the important aspects. With that, we come to conclusion of our today's session. Till the time, and last but not the least, thank you to all our participants for being so active throughout the session and making it a fruitful discussion. Uh, it's when we get to hear from you, that's what we feel that yes, we are taking the right step in the right direction in making impact in your life that matters for us. With that, thank you so much. We will meet next week. Good day to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye.